So the first thing I would do was I would, for these files, I would just layer everything like it is in the actual file, the SVG file, and I would just stack it. What you could do is you could put foam tape on each layer, but I've been finding that as I go that I like it with some actual foam tape maybe on that last layer, and then just maybe pop out some of the accents like I did in this Merry Christmas card. And then for this one, I did 2 layers, and then the last layer, I just kind of left it. So one thing that I've been finding is that if I use the foam tape, because this border is just a little smaller, this last layer is a little smaller, you'll have to cut down the tape, but it's really not a problem. But I kind of like to play around. You still have the 3-dimensionality to this, like you kind of see in here. So one good rule of thumb is to just go ahead and lay everything out the way it should be. And if you could tell with this card, I actually have the border actually down before I actually put on these actual snowflakes. So the snowflakes will go over this border. So let's go ahead and put together this Merry and Bright card. And what I do is I go ahead and I'll tape, I'll actually not tape, but I'll glue everything down first prior to. And right now I'm just using some Scotch tacky glue. And I just try to add it on very lightly. Move that out the way. And then you can see I just follow along where I have the offsets. And it kind of fits in nicely. So just give myself a little room. You can kind of see where this needs to go. And then I'll go ahead and add the border. And again, I put it on pretty light just in case I have to readjust what I need to do. Readjust the border. But it's pretty centered. And just kind of tack it in the center with a little glue. All right, and just kind of make sure I kind of, before I set it down. Okay. All right, now make sure that all my layers are kind of glued. All the elements on top of those layers are glued together. I'll let you see that one. All right, and if I could lift this off. So for this one, we have the outline of the gift and the gift itself. And I think what I'm going to do is actually pop up this gift. I'm going to maybe keep most of it flat, but then just have the gift pop out. And again, just very lightly. And because this is like an offset, well, this one actually isn't an offset. I'm just kind of evenly put this on. And so I don't want to, because I was able to see that this won't interfere with anything that I put, that if I put like some foam tape here, it won't interfere with this border. So I'm just going to actually put a couple of dots here. Put one at the top, the bottom, and then we'll just put one at the center here. I'm just going to put this over to the side. And then I'm going to glue on, not tape, but glue on these lights. And these lights could be a little tricky because I found that they kind of, because of this, kind of like the string effect, make sure I put a little bit on this. These are so delicate. But I want to make sure that I'm following along with this offset a little bit, because these actually can move a little more, have a lot more flexibility between them. All right, not too bad, not bad at all, actually. Kind of running low on the glue, and I don't want it to come out too fast. All right, so I just want to make sure that I'm actually, if you can see, like just making sure that I'm placing these on, just like offset on these, on this area. It's just a little glue, but luckily this dries clear. Okay, and this should dry pretty clear. All right, so for this last layer, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down here. Make sure I stack it up pretty nicely. I'm gonna take this red on red off just now so that you can kind of see that it's stacked up nicely. And I'm just gonna lightly add the glue just around the edges. And then hit those corners really well. Make sure I get the corners. Stack it up nicely. Okay. All right, and then we'll add the Merry Bright. So for most of these cards, you want to make sure there's not a lot of overlapping, or there's no overlapping before you put the dots in place. And I just go around the corners. I won't go around these overlaps. I like to fold up to here just so I can kind of see where my line will be, and then I actually add just a little glue on the edges here, on these corners. Make sure that I've filled it up enough. Place it again. Little glue oozing out. All right, let that dry for a couple of seconds. But you can see how this fits in really nicely. In the card, you have more than enough room, even if you decide to use all the layers. And there you go. Voila. Thanks for watching.